This video is sponsored by ViewSonic. If you're looking to level up your teaching game, we've got 5 amazing apps you never knew that you needed. From AI-generated questions to game-changing communication with parents, these apps will make your teaching life easier and more effective. So let's say you found a YouTube video that you want your students to watch. You bring that video over to a site like Edpuzzle and you want to embed some check for understanding questions in the video, so you spend 15 to 20 minutes rewatching the video and coming up with the questions that you want to embed. Our first tool is called Twee and will come up with those questions for you. Twee is an AI-powered tool and all I need to do is paste the link to my YouTube video in there, and then I can choose between having open-ended questions, multiple choice questions, or true-false questions. I want some open-ended ones, so let's go with that, and then I get 10 open-ended questions based on that YouTube video, as well as the answers to those questions. It's basically scanning the transcript of that video to come up with those questions. And I'd also like some multiple choice questions in there as well, so let me get 10 of those. And so now I have 10 open-ended questions and 10 multiple choice questions that I can choose from, and then once I decide which questions I would like to use, I can then go back to Edpuzzle, find where those questions go, and add them in. Twee doesn't just do this with YouTube videos, but you can use it to generate all sorts of questions and prompts, particularly for the ELA classroom. And as of recording this, Twee is in beta and free to access. If any of your students come from families that speak a language other than English, then you need to be using our next tool, Talking Points. The way it works is a teacher can send a message to the family. The family gets that message in their native language, and these translations are actually really good. This isn't like a mediocre Google Translate that just kind of gets there. The family then writes a response in their native language back to the teacher. And then that response is translated back into English, allowing for this ongoing conversation between teachers and families. Talking Points works with 145 different languages, and having it available both on desktop as well as a mobile app makes it super accessible and as seamless as texting. This is huge for reaching all of your families. Some schools saw responses to their events from families increase 175% when they started using Talking Points, while other schools showed that absenteeism diminished by 15% when they started using it. Talking Points allows you to engage all of your families, and it is free to teachers. Sometimes when you're presenting to students, it makes sense to use a digital whiteboard so you can annotate and collaborate with students. Other times it makes more sense to use a traditional slideshow to get your ideas across. Our next tool takes the best from digital whiteboards and slideshows and combines them in one tool, and it's the Whiteboard app by MyViewboard. There's a few different versions of the Whiteboard app, and the Windows PC version is their most feature-rich version. Each slide in here in Whiteboard is its own complete whiteboard. And one of the things that I really like is you can not only embed a YouTube video in your whiteboard, but then you can pause it, take a screenshot, annotate over that screenshot, and then when you go back to finish watching the video, the screenshot and the annotations are still preserved. There's also an entity account that is free for teachers that has several more features. One of the features on the entity account is the throw feature for students to be able to share their work. So a student can take a photo of their work and then using the companion app, throw the photo to the whiteboard and then annotate their work and explain their thinking up at the whiteboard for everyone to see. The entity account also allows you to embed polls and quizzes directly into Whiteboard that students can respond to from their devices, and then you can discuss those results immediately with the students in class. Check the link in the description to get your free entity account, as well as a link to a video where we show you all the different things that you can do with Whiteboard. So maybe you've tried podcasting in your classroom, but your students have struggled with traditional audio editors. What if editing a podcast could be as simple as editing a Google Doc? Adobe Podcast can make that happen. So this is a short podcast that me and Sam recorded. Let's take a listen. Sam, what are the benefits of being able to edit a podcast as easily as you edit a doc?
I think it's probably like what you can do is just edit the document directly, and then you don't have to worry about editing the audio file.
So a couple things I can do here. This transcript that you see was automatically generated by Adobe Podcast, so I didn't have to put any of this stuff in. And then when I go into the transcript, let's say I want to delete that first part of where Sam's just saying, well, I think it's probably like, and I want it to start where he says, what you can do is, so that way it's just a little tighter. I'm gonna just highlight all of this text, and then I am going to hit delete. And now let's back up a little bit. I'll click up here and then have the audio start playing back so you can hear that I deleted it from the transcript and it is deleted from the audio. Edit a doc.
What you can do is just edit the document directly.
Perfect. And both me and Sam recorded on our laptops. I was in Texas, he was in California. Neither of us were in these high quality studio spaces. And so if you have poor audio, much like what your students are probably recording in the classroom with maybe a Chromebook, you can clean that audio up really easily by using this filter over here and enhancing the speech. So let's listen to see what Sam sounds like before I enhance the speech.
What you can do is just edit the document directly.
And now with the enhanced speech on,
What you can do is just edit the document directly, and then you don't have to worry about editing the audio file.
So it doesn't sound like a world-class recording, but it is a lot better than what it was. So at the time of recording this, Adobe Podcast is in beta and is on a wait list where you have to request access to get it. But when I requested access, I was in within a few days, so it's not too long of a wait. Currently, it is free and they do plan on always having a free version. And eventually it's gonna be available within Adobe Express, which is super cool. Our final tool is ChatGPT. And while ChatGPT is no secret at this point, sometimes when a tool can do so much, it's hard to know exactly what kind of solution it can be for you in the classroom. Let's say you started to do some self-generated genius hour type learning in your classroom, and you've got a 7th grade student who wants to learn how to code a video game in Python, and she has no experience coding at all, and you have no experience coding at all. In ChatGPT, use a prompt something like this. You're an expert Python programmer with a specialty in making video games. I've got a 7th grade student who wants to learn how to code their own video game in Python, but they have no coding experience. Please provide a step-by-step guide for my student in simple language that they can understand on how to learn enough Python to program their own simple game. Thank you. It's good to be polite with the AI, so hopefully it remembers that when it overtakes the human race. And then ChatGPT will give you a step-by-step guide on how to get started with learning Python written in a way that a 7th grade student can understand. And then you can have it break down any one of those particular steps into 5 to 10 more smaller steps to really help guide your student along the way. And if your students are older than 13, you can have them do this in ChatGPT themselves. Or let's say you teach younger students and you want a simple way to get them interacting with AI in a safe way. I got this idea from the Kentucky Teacher of the Year, Donnie Piercy. Play a game of storytelling telephone with ChatGPT. You could start with a prompt like this. Write me a children's story where a blank wants to blank, but they can't because blank. And then once you have that story, you can ask students, well, what should we add to the story? Add a robot named Roger to the story. And then just keep adding to it and iterating it a bunch of times. Do this as a group and then discuss how did the story change? What stayed the same? Was there anything that surprised you? It's a safe way to engage with AI and ChatGPT as a class. And the third way you can utilize ChatGPT is to have it write better lesson plans for you. Check out this video that we did where we walk you step by step and tell you exactly the prompts to use to have ChatGPT write some really amazing lesson plans for you in a fraction of the time. We'll see you over there.